Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Belly to Belly. And we're here today to talk about SelectUSA preparation. And we're with great friends, John Woodward and Stefan Harrigan from the Metro Atlanta Chamber. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello, Bill. Good to see you again.
Thanks for having us, Bill.
Absolutely. So we're talking to companies that are either committed to coming to SelectUSA or thinking about it. And part of our goal is to give them an introduction to great resources that will be there at the event that they may want to connect to. If you wouldn't mind, maybe just take a minute or two and give us a little bit of an overview of what the Metro Atlanta Chamber does to help companies expand in the US.
Well, thanks, Bill. I'll jump in on that real quickly, and my colleague Stefan can help out as well. We're part of the global commerce team within the economic development division of the Metro Atlanta Chamber. So we focus specifically on international companies, foreign-owned enterprises entering or exploring the U.S. market. And so our team is on hand to assist those companies go through the process. It's an increasingly complex process. And I would say really the bottom line that we help provide is we encourage any international company coming in, whether it's an SME, small medium enterprise, a PME, Mittelstand, or if it's a well-established company. We encourage those companies to conduct thorough due diligence, thorough analysis of that U.S. market entry or U.S. market expansion decision. And so just as they would any other business decision, they do. Entering the U.S. market is a fundamental business decision. So in other words, don't do it based on emotion, on a past family vacation, or where your friends might be. It should be a business data-driven decision. And so what our team does is provide those resources and that counseling to help go through that due diligence process.
Fantastic. No, that's really important. Anything quickly to add, Stefan?
I'll say on top of that, we're here to provide in part information and connections. So we have dedicated research teams. We have other industry specialist teams at the Chamber, as well as a project management team that are all there to provide, whether, as John mentioned, it's the data on, for instance, wages and labor statistics, real estate information, and then on the flip side, the connections, getting connected to the local authorities, getting connected to our partners at the state, the utility, whatever the need might be for the company, so that they don't have to go out on their own, find this information, or find those connections themselves, really being a point of contact to help drive all of that.
Super. Yeah, and actually that's one of the things I've always been impressed by, both as we've worked together kind of in these occasions, but also as I go by your booth at SelectUSA, in how many support organizations, whether it's Georgia Power or others, are a part of your presence. And it seems like a very integrated community where everybody's working together to support companies expanding. So that's fantastic. So the next question is really around SelectUSA itself. And again, the companies who are listening are, some have made the decision to come and others are kind of on the doorstep. But why is it that you all participate? What is it that makes SelectUSA so impactful? And why should companies that are thinking about it make the commitment?
Well, you actually kind of hit on it yourself, Bill, and the lead into the question is part of the reason we at the Metro Atlanta Chamber participate is indeed that teamwork that is endemic in the state of Georgia. You mentioned some of our partners, the Georgia Department of Economic Development, Georgia Power, many of the local economic development organizations. We, of course, are a regional one representing the metropolitan Atlanta region. But that collaboration is especially strong in the state of Georgia, and that's manifested in the SelectUSA. So you say you've been by our booth. We always appreciate your coming by and others coming to the Georgia booth. But really, I think any company coming in, where they can find that unified collaborative spirit among the economic development entities, that will inure to that company's benefit. And it's not uniform. Georgia, we're fortunate to have that, and we do partner with collaborate with our partners at SelectUSA in particular. And again, it's really we participate because, just as I mentioned earlier, it's incumbent upon those international companies to conduct their due diligence. same with us, really, our due diligence in working with international companies that are coming in. It's been a great gathering spot for international companies. We've been participating in SelectUSA since it was introduced by the Obama administration. So we've been going there for many years now. We know how it operates. We've seen its evolution, which has been toward efficiency of connecting people. And so we really see that as part of our way to be with those international companies, considering that U.S. market entry or expansion, and doing so with our partners so that we can, in one place, in this case in the Georgia booth, for example, in one place, have those resources and those collaborative efforts all together for those companies to avail themselves of.
No, that's great. And so maybe Stefan, you want to take this one, is, thinking about, the companies that are coming, are there recommendations you have in terms of how they get the most out of SelectUSA, whether it's their, what they do before they arrive or on site or afterwards?
Absolutely. And my top recommendations, which would apply, I think, to any conference or trade show that our team would typically go to, is, of course, to do your research, to look into which particular states, municipalities, localities are you really looking at, considering. And then I think asking yourself also why. What are the most important factors for your business? What's driving that business decision? Is it labor? Is it a customer? Is it the supply chain availability? And based off of that, maybe trying to determine these are some other states that I should be looking at and considering in that evaluation process. So really doing your research, trying to not just go with the intent of maybe focusing on one, but really using it as the opportunity to do that due diligence, as John said, to do a comparative analysis and assessment of these different states or regions, because exactly to John's point, not to echo that too much, but it's a really great opportunity to have all of that really under one roof, instead of having to travel from one corner of the country to the next.
And
all in 2.5 days, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, exactly. And Stefan and I tag team here. So but just to complement what he was saying there, complement with an E, is it is that opportunity there, Bill, and SelectUSA, as we both mentioned, to see those different areas. And one thing that we always tell companies, international companies that are coming in, is that site location decision, it should be based on data, based on analysis, on business fundamentals, should not be based on incentives. And because incentives are finite, even the best incentives end. But those business fundamentals, whether it's tax rates or logistics or workforce, those are with you for the life of the project. And at a SelectUSA, with all those different U.S. entities around those U.S. geographic areas, a company is able to get a sense of those business fundamentals pretty much all in one fell swoop, and not be kind of distracted by the shiny bauble of incentives, which should not be driving a site location decision anyway. That should be sort of icing on the cake. So you really get a chance to do that due diligence in a compact amount of time at the SelectUSA. And certainly we hope folks will avail them or come by the Georgia booth to see that as well.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned incentives, and just maybe one quick point there. One question I ask quite often as we're talking to companies at SelectUSA, and they bring up incentives, and I sort of ask, imagine if I had in kind of my right pocket, I had the best incentive you can imagine, and that could be yours, or in my left pocket, I have 5, sort of top prospects for you in terms of customers. Which would you want? If you can only choose one, which would you want? 100% of the responses have been the 5 really good prospects. But it's irrational how much people sort of, well, but how about the incentive? No, you focus on what's going to build your business. Yeah, as you said, incentives are temporary, customers are permanent if we do it right.
They're baubles. It's a shiny bauble, and there's a role for them. There's a role for them. But again, those business fundamentals trump incentives, and that's the reason is that they're always going to be there, those fundamentals, and you want to make sure you find that location that has the fundamentals that best match your objectives, as you mentioned there.
Absolutely. No, I love it. Well, this has been delightful, gentlemen, and we certainly, the encouragement to our audience is certainly reach out to John and Stefan if you have questions about Georgia, if you have questions about Atlanta. They are the quarterbacks of kind of getting you to the right people and the right connections in state. Is it okay if I include your contact information in the description, gentlemen?
Certainly, not a problem.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and we're going to look forward to seeing you in the second week of May. Can't wait.
Coming up soon. Thanks, Bill.
Looking forward to
All
it as
right.
well.
Thank you so much. Bye now.
Thanks.